Lost at Sea by Peter Millett. Illustrated by Giorgio Bachin. Chapter 1. Adeline and her father bounced around in the heavy waves on their life raft. The same waves that had smashed their boat now crashed down on top of them. They were lost at sea. Their sailing boat had sunk after being hit by the huge storm. Mr. Lee had a broken arm. Adeline had a cut on her head. "Dad, are you okay?" Adeline cried. "Yes, I'm all right," Mr. Lee said. "Will we be okay in this life raft?" Adeline asked. "I hope so," Mr. Lee replied. "Have we got any food?" Mr. Lee asked. Adeline looked around. She found her lunchbox. It had a slice of pizza inside it. "This is all we have to eat," she sighed. "And we have no radio and no maps. Everything was lost overboard." Mr. Lee looked very worried. "We are going to have to make that food last a really long time. Let's wait until we are starving before we eat it," he said. Just then, the life raft was knocked sideways. A huge black fin shot up out of the water. "Oh no! It's a shark!" Mr. Lee cried. 2 more black fins shot up. Adeline covered her eyes. "Wait! They're not sharks!" Mr. Lee cried. Adeline uncovered her eyes. "Dad, you're right. Sharks aren't black. They're gray." "They're orcas!" Mr. Lee cried. "Thank goodness for that!" Adeline gasped. The fins dipped back into the water, and the whales swam off. Chapter 2. Dad looked at his watch. "Oh no, this is bad. Really bad. It's nearly midnight, and no one knows we're out here alone." "Will someone find us?" said Adeline. "They'd better," Dad groaned. "I'd hate to think what will happen if they don't." The life raft drifted for miles out into the darkness. When Adeline awoke the next morning, she was cold and hungry. "Shall we eat the pizza now?" she asked. But just then, Mr. Lee saw something out on the water. "Look! Look!" he cried. Adeline rubbed her eyes. "It's a ship! It's a ship! Have they seen us? Are they coming to rescue us?" Mr. Lee shook his head. "No, Adeline, they can't see us. We're too small to be noticed." "How can we make them see us?" Adeline cried. "We need a flare or a really bright light," Mr. Lee said. Chapter 3. Adeline looked around the empty life raft. "But the emergency pack has been washed away," she said. Suddenly her face lit up. She took the pizza from the foil. "What are you doing?" Mr. Lee said. "Are you going to wave the pizza at them?" "No," Adeline said. "I'm going to use the foil to signal the ship." Adeline flattened the foil to make it smooth. "See? It looks like a mirror now," she smiled. Adeline held the foil up in the sun. It flashed a reflection of sunlight across the sea like a mirror. "Good idea," Dad said. After a short while, the ship's crew saw Adeline's flashing signals. The ship's horn sounded loudly to greet them. "We're going to be rescued," Mr. Lee cheered. "And it's all thanks to you, Adeline." The ship turned towards them. A few minutes later, the ship reached Adeline and her father. The ship's captain welcomed them aboard. "You two must be very hungry," he grinned. "Yep," Adeline smiled, hugging her father. "Now can we eat the pizza, Dad?"
Lost at sea. Adeline and her father are lost at sea. Will they be rescued in time?